Hi. Today we are going to talk about Avengers Endgame. Warning. Watch out for spoilers ahead. If you like the video, please click like and subscribe. At the beginning of this video, Hawkeye is showing his girl archery on his detached ranch while his better half readies an outing lunch for them. Unexpectedly, Hawkeye's little girl evaporates and the remainder of Hawkeye's family deteriorates, alongside half of all life across the universe, the consequence of Thanos snapping his fingers in the wake of securing each of the 6 Endlessness Stones. Nebula and Tony are abandoned in space following their loss to Thanos on Titan, however, are gotten back to Earth via Danvers and rejoined with Natasha Romanoff, Bruce, Steve Rogers, Rocket, Thor, and James Rhodes. The group figures out how to take the Limitlessness Stones back from Thanos and use them to invert his activities, yet learned after finding him that he had utilized the stones a second opportunity to obliterate them, forestalling their further use. He lets the remaining team know that he did as such to try not to involve the stones for additional loathsome purposes. Maddened, Thor decapitates Thanos, saying it's what he ought to have done in Wakanda. After 5 years, Scott Lang escapes from the quantum domain to find that his little girl Cassie is currently a teen and that Trust Van Dyne, alongside half of the populace, has vanished in the snap. Rogers has been driving distress advising meetings for survivors actually battling with the impacts of the snap, while Romanoff is indefatigably overseeing both Earth and the remainder of the universe with the assistance of Rhodes, Danvers, Okoye, Rocket, and Nebula. Lang goes to Romanoff and Rogers and makes sense of that while 5 years had passed for them, just 5 hours had passed for him in the quantum domain and that time extends much distinctively there. The three go to Tony, who is currently bringing up a youngster with Pepper Potts, and make sense of their hypothesis that the quantum domain can be utilized to travel once more into the past and take the Limitlessness Stones before Thanos can gather them. Unmistakable at first oddballs their proposition with worry about gambling with his family and the harmony he has found, yet in the wake of reflecting upon the deficiency of Peter Parker chooses to test hypothetical models that would work with Lang's quantum burrow, in the end tracking down one that works. With Tony now ready, the remaining team set off to reassemble their group. Bruce has now embraced the mass as a piece of him and has merged his own cognizance and the mass together into one. Romanoff, subsequent to hearing reports from Rhodes of a professional killer that works with comparative strategies to Hawkeye, passes on to track down him. Hawkeye, consumed with sorrow after the deficiency of his family, has been working under the mantle Ronin while fiercely slaughtering criminal cartels and posses all over the planet to attempt to work on the world that is still left. Natasha tracks down him in Japan and after some persuading, he consents to rejoin the group to attempt to bring his family back. Bruce and Rocket go to the unassuming community of New Asgard, where Valkyrie and the last overcomers of Asgard have settled. They there find Thor, who has become overpowered by culpability over neglecting to kill Thanos in Wakanda. Thor has become overweight, his hair and facial hair are congested, and he invests his free energy eating unhealthy food, becoming inebriated, and playing Fortnite with his companions Korg and Miek. Thor hesitantly consents to get back to the Justice Fighters after some persuading from Rocket and Bruce. In the wake of testing the quantum time machine on Hawkeye, who affirms that it works, the team are brought together with an arrangement. Flag, Rogers, Lang, and Tony set out to recover the time, brain, and space stones during the clash of New York in 2012. Bruce goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where he is educated by the antiquated one that requiring some investment stone from her timetable would forestall Stephen Odd's future endeavors to prevent Caecilius from obliterating the laws of nature. Nonetheless, when Bruce tells her that Odd surrendered the time stone eagerly to Thanos, she permits Bruce to make them suggest Odd had expected a particular succession of occasions to happen for Thanos to be crushed. Bruce additionally guaranteed the stones' revisitation of their appropriate courses of events to forestall any evil impacts. Lang and Tony endeavor to take the space stone after the team seizes it from Loki. Lang gives Tony's previous self a gentle heart failure by pulling a circuit in his counterfeit heart, while Tony takes the briefcase lodging the Tesseract when no one is looking. Their arrangement is obstructed when Tony drops the attaché after he is inadvertently hit by the Hulk. Loki then takes the space stone and uses it to get away from care. Rogers prevails with regards to taking the brain stone from secret Hydra specialists, however, finds his previous self, who botches him for a hidden Loki. Subsequent to overcoming past Steve, Rogers gets back together with Tony and Lang, who currently should sort out one more method for getting the space stone without running out of the restricted stock of PIM particles that permit them to go through the quantum domain. Lang gets back to the present with the brain stone while Rogers and Tony devise an arrangement to take the space stone from a U.S. armed force establishment during the 1970s, while additionally taking further vials of PIM particles to make the excursion back home. While there, Rogers sees Peggy Carter and Tony have a significant discussion with his dad Howard. Rocket and Thor travel to Asgard to recover the Truth Stone before Malekith utilizes it against the 9 domains. While in Asgard, Thor is reminded that his mom, Frigga, would pass on soon and gets an opportunity experience with her while Rocket takes the Ether, the disintegrated form of the Truth Stone, from Jane. The two revisited Earth after Frigga guides Thor and he recovers his sledge Mjolnir, thrilled to find that he is as yet deserving of it. Nebula and Rhodes travel to Morag to take the Power Stone before Peter does. As Rhodes gets back to the present with the Power Stone, Nebula breakdowns and stays on Morag. With two consciousnesses working on Nebula's frameworks, Thanos and Ebony Maw find the presence of the future Nebula and go to capture her. Nebula acknowledges what has occurred and attempts to caution the others, however, is past the point of no return. Thanos checks her recollections and finds the team's arrangement, and sends the more faithful past Nebula back to the present as a covert operative. Hawkeye and Romanoff travel to Vormir to recover the Spirit Stone, however, are clashed when Red Skull, an attendant of the stone, illuminates them that it must be recovered by sacrificing somebody they love. The two battle about which will make the penance, with Romanoff eventually accepting any penalty, while a troubled Hawkeye gets back to Earth with the Spirit Stone. After everybody has gotten back to the present on the planet, Tony, Rocket, and Bruce set off on a mission to create a glove to employ the stones, one developed from the equivalent nanotech of Tony's most recent Iron Man suit. Bruce suggests to use the glove himself and bring back everybody that vanished in Thanos' snap, thinking that he can endure both the gamma radiation and the monstrous aggravation and injury welcomed on by utilizing the stones. He succeeds, however they are very quickly gone after by Thanos, who has been brought to Earth by the fake Nebula, obliterating the quantum entry all the while. Thanos diminishes the team's central command to rubble, separating the group and making the glove fall into Hawkeye's insurance. The previous Nebula is killed by her future self as she endeavors to take the Limitlessness stones from Hawkeye, while Rogers, Thor, and Tony face Thanos, who concludes he will rather utilize the stones to obliterate the universe and make one in his vision. The three battle Thanos one-on-one, with Rogers affirming Thor's hypothesis that he deserves to use the Mjolnir, yet are each outperformed by Thanos. Not long after Thanos' military terrains on the planet, T'Challa shows up before Rogers, alongside the Avengers in general and different partners restored by Bruce, prior to sending off an attack on Thanos and his military. After an extended fight during which Tony is brought together with Parker and Quill is brought together with past Gamora, Thanos grapples with various Avengers for the Limitlessness stones. At the point when he's limited by Wanda Maximoff's energy, Thanos orders Glaive to have his boat fire different energy impacts, almost crushing the Justice Fighters' endeavors. Commander Wonder returns, taking out Thanos' boat while battling for control of the glove. Utilizing the nanotech from the new glove, Tony moves the Vastness stones from Thanos' hand to his own and utilizes them to transform Thanos and his whole armed force into debris, victoriously expressing, "I am Iron Man." Parker and Potts console Tony as he bites the dust from openness to the stone's radiation. Following the fight, the team holds a burial service for Tony, whose Mark I Bend reactor is drifted out on the lake close to his home. Hawkeye and Wanda Maximoff take comfort in the way that Romanoff and Vision, who didn't return in the snap, would be glad for their triumph over Thanos. Thor makes Valkyrie the sovereign of Asgard and joins the gatekeepers of the universe to track down his actual reason, liberated from the weight of eminence and authority without precedent for his life. Hawkeye gets back to his family and Peter Parker gets back to school, where he is brought together with his dearest companion Ned. In the meantime, Rogers is entrusted to go into the past to return the stones and Thor's mallet to their unique courses of events, however, chooses not to get back to the present and to rather carry on with the remainder of his life in the past with Carter. He returns before Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes as an elderly person and passes his safeguard and the mantle of Captain America onto Wilson. A concise flashback shows Rogers and Carter in a standard-looking house, at last sharing the dance they never got to have in their family room, really blissful finally.